right. It's Friday.
It's Friday.
Friday Memorial Day weekend.
Yes.
Somebody looks like they're going camping.
I am going camping. And to be fair, I will be changing for the show. But it's Casual Friday.
It is.
We got these awesome things for Christmas, and so I wanted to partake.
And it is a little bit chilly. Than we would like.
Yes. I'm not the meteorologist. We will... Colton will explain. But yeah, no, it's going to be a great weekend. Longer weekend, of course, too. And on Studio 10, we definitely wanted to kind of highlight that. But most importantly, of course, the reason that we have a 3-day weekend is because we have Memorial Day on Monday, and that's the day to remember and honor those that we have lost. And so we're definitely taking time in Studio 10 to kind of go over that. So the meaning, the importance, the history of this day. So you'll definitely want to tune in for that. And some of the ties that it has to Lansing, which is quite interesting. Shocker, Claudia's on that story. She loves history.
She loves her history.
Yeah. So we'll be learning about that. And we'll kind of go over some of the events that are happening here in mid-Michigan. Sometimes it can be overwhelming. It's like, okay, what events are happening where? What do I do? But we have like a whole section in our show today just dedicated to all the different services, memorial services, as well as parades, kind of get-togethers, just in case if you want to take those, day or hour, minutes, just to do something to kind of, give credit and time where it's due. So you don't forget about that, because I think it's easy to do now. Everyone's mind is like on camping or
summer and everything.
Stuff.
Yeah, it is.
So we definitely have that. And then we also are highlighting ways to kind of build your burger in a healthy way.
None of us did just now, by the way, when we had our cookout.
No, but you can see us right there. We had Katie from Mom to Mom Nutrition stop by the weather patio to kind of give us ways to build, a well-balanced burger. Yeah, so, and to kind of pick toppings that are a little bit more colorful. Don't be afraid. You see those banana peppers on there. You feel a little spice.
Don't they say to have, like, the most colorful food you can?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we have that. And then she's going to teach us how to make this. If you're looking at it right now, that's like a lemon asparagus, like orzo side salad, so which is nice because that can be served just as it is. So it doesn't have to be like cooked right away. It's kept warm. It doesn't have to be served cold. It's right there. So that's super helpful. When you're like trying to go to all these different events, you're like, I need to.
Do I have a cooler? Do I have enough ice?
Yeah. So we'll teach you how to make out all of that kind of stuff.
That's good.
Yeah. So definitely bring your appetites to Studio 10. And then, we're just going to tell you a little bit about other events that are happening in the area that kind of don't have to do with Memorial Day, but are good community events in general. Spoiler alert, Uncle John's is going to be opening up today, which is always exciting because that's not just a fall thing. You can do that something all summer. So you'll definitely want to tune in for all of that. It's going to be a good day.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I am too. And I got to go get my hair and makeup and everything else on because, I don't think this would be good to wear.
I think you should.
Not yet.
I think you should.
We'll do a casual Friday.
That's just me. All right.
All right.
Well, here's where you can catch everything Studio 10. It is online, WILX.com/Studio10. On Instagram at WILXStudio10. You can email them any ideas, or maybe, you missed something, you want that recipe, Studio10 @WILX.com. And if you you messed me up. If you missed anything, you can always find it on their YouTube right here. All right.
They want to get a lot of followers or subscribers. I'm sorry, it's YouTube, right?
It's the tubes of you, so it is subscribers.
Not followers.
Yes.
Subscribers.
But that's where you can find some clips of all of their segments, which would be a good one to share too, like the burger tips. We just had burgers like an hour ago, so this is a good thing about having the weather patio is there's a grill out there.
Yeah, and it works.
Yeah, it works. That's pretty good. And we have people who work it.
Yeah, it's not just a prop that we use back there.
No.
No.
All right, well, here is First Alert Meteorologist Colton Cichoracki, who has a lot of friends in the newsroom this time because it is a beautiful holiday weekend ahead. But looking past the weekend, you're a little bit concerned. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah. And one of the things is that, some people will say that this nice weather is not all that nice, especially farmers and people that have gardens and things like that. We just haven't seen a ton of rain.
Right.
Unfortunately, we don't have a ton of rain in the forecast either. But I will kind of talk about that in much more detail in just a second. But I want to talk about today because as we're heading into the holiday weekend, we'll take the good news is that it's going to be a nice weather for the weekend, right?
Very nice.
A lot of people have outdoor plans, lots of festivals, festivities, things like that going on all weekend. If you're
Graduation parties too.
Graduation
Those are
parties.
already starting.
Yeah, all of those things going
Oh.
on. So if you're going to be hitting the roads today, no issues. So I'm showing you a look at US 131, US 127, and I-75. Those are the three major highways in Michigan that take you to the north, and they are all looking fantastic here. No weather-related issues throughout the entire lower peninsula. So US 131 takes you up through Cadillac and points north. 127 takes you through Clare and Grayling. And then I-75 obviously takes you all the way up to the Mackinac Bridge. No issues. Even if you were to cross the bridge and head in the UP, nothing going on
Wow,
region-wide.
that's-
So I can show you that
Lucky.
right now on satellite radar. Nothing. Very few clouds to speak of across the
is-
entire state.
If you can go back to the last one, I don't want to mess up your system, but this is just weather, not traffic.
Correct.
Okay.
Weather.
Weather-wise.
Yes, that's a good distinction because if it were
If it were the traffic congestion.
traffic, I can only imagine what it's like. I used to live over in Saginaw, I-75 on this time of year,
Oh, my
not a
goodness.
fun road to drive on. And you know what's crazy about it? Between Flint and Saginaw, or actually between Bay City and Flint, it's 4 lanes, and it's just jam-packed full of people,
Yep.
especially the northbound lanes. And then
4 full lanes.
yeah,
It is.
and then on Monday it'll be the southbound lanes that are all jam-packed.
I always like going
here
over
on out.
69 and looking.
Yeah.
That's
It's
where
just insane.
great.
It's crazy. And, my parents live off M115 towards Cadillac, and that's the road that takes you into Traverse City. That road is also very crazy this time of year.
Pack
so
your patience
pack
along with your
patience.
sunglasses.
Sunglasses needed, yeah. So that graphic, yes, that is just weather-wise. I cannot tell you how it is traffic-wise. Well, I think we can all assume what it's going to be like
Yes.
out there today. Even US 127 through Lansing gets kind of crazy at times as well. But you can see just across the region, we continue to have area high pressure that's going to be setting up here. We get into a blocking pattern where we kind of stay with the same type of weather for the next couple of days. It's called a Rex block. There's an Omega block and a Rex block. We don't have to go into the details of it, but it is something that's going to be setting up, and that's why we're going to be seeing the same type of weather for a while here. So I created this graphic today.
I saw you working on it.
There's a little icon over there.
Yeah.
So today's forecast does show temperatures in the 70s. We'll have winds today from the east-northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. But again, lots of sunshine, great weather for any travel plans or just any plans around mid-Michigan here for the rest of the afternoon. So here's a look at the Memorial Day forecast. We do have temperatures by tomorrow that will be in the upper 70s, and then on Sunday and Monday we should be in the 80s. I bumped that high up on Monday up to 85 degrees, so it's going to be pretty warm. Water is needed, so if you're going to have any other beverages in there, right, you want to make sure that water is also part of that. And there's a lot of parades and ceremonies going on Monday for Memorial Day, and I do expect the weather to be pretty good. There probably will be some more clouds around Sunday and into Monday, but I'm not expecting any rain this weekend, so it should be pretty nice. Do you want to show you the up north forecast? I know this is Darren's favorite graphic.
Yeah, he used it this morning.
Yes, but I think it's applicable too. If you're going to be heading up to the Traverse City area, temperatures will be in the upper 70s. One thing to keep in mind, Great Lakes this time of year are very cold.
They're still very cold,
Yes.
everybody.
Yeah,
Yes.
so if you're going to a place that's near one of the Great Lakes, your temperatures are going to be cooler this weekend, certainly cooler than what we're going to see here in the middle of the lower peninsula. Alpena will have temperatures in the 70s across the bridge. The Sioux, 75 Saturday, 78 on Sunday. That's not too bad for Sault Ste. Marie. And then Marquette over there in the UP, 70 and 71.
It's still not bad for up there, though.
Oh, and the thing about it, too, is that no rain is expected anywhere across the lower peninsula or the upper peninsula. So no matter where you're going, if you're staying in Michigan, you're going to see nice weather. But these are just some things that I would keep in mind this holiday weekend, is that I don't think you need to be worried about any rain coming down, which is welcome news. But one thing that I don't want you to forget, and we just mentioned that, are the water temperatures on the Great Lakes, because they're so cold. They're not. It's, we're still coming out of winter.
It can be dangerously cold
It
to
can
your
be
body.
dangerously cold, and that's why you don't want to go in for too long. Make sure that you're getting out. You can go dip your toes in. That's probably all I'll do this weekend. But yeah, the water temperature is still very cold, not only on the Great Lakes, but a lot of inland lakes as well. That's normal. Memorial Day, you don't really get into the water too much. Memorial Day, more like 4th of July or, Labor Day. That's better
warmed
time.
up. Everything's nice.
But also with the dry weather that we've seen as of late, the fire danger is still very high. It's going to be high all weekend long into next week. So bonfires, fireworks, grilling, anything that involves fire, be careful. Be extremely careful, because we do have that high fire danger, and you obviously don't want anything to, catch.
Yes. We've got tips on that from Kellen, Buddy, and others on our news team on our website, WILX.com. And also, you can watch those individual segments wherever you're streaming us as well.
Correct. So those are I just want to include that. But look what happens.
You got a 90 in there.
I got a 90. So today's the coolest day moving forward. We do see the warm up through the holiday weekend. And then next week, Memorial Day, what do they call it? The unofficial start to summer.
Yes.
And Mother Nature's like, okay, let's do that. And so we're going to see some summer-like temperatures by Wednesday into Thursday. Of course, we do start the month of June next week. Looks like the first day of June is Thursday, I believe.
I should know this.
I'm pretty sure it's Thursday.
It is.
And that will be our first 90-degree day, at least at this point, looking like we're going to see that big warm up and maybe some higher humidity levels once we get towards the end of the week. Looking for rain. I would say right now the only chance is going to come as a cold front on Friday that may try to bring us a few stray showers, but at this point, it's just not looking great. And I mentioned this in
not looking great for rain.
Correct. I mentioned this in our editorial meeting this morning, that I am becoming growingly concerned about drought conditions that are going to probably start popping up around here. I know a lot of farmers trying to get their plants going for the season, not running into any rain. It's not the best news, gardens and things like that. Unfortunately, we just don't have a lot of rain. But I will tell you, probably in the next 2-ish weeks, maybe a little after that, we may see our weather pattern break down. I was reading some things on social media from some other meteorologists about this, about how the weather pattern might try to change once we get towards the middle part of June. Hopefully, fingers crossed, right? We need the rain, so we may see things change. But we mentioned this yesterday. We're going to see a top 5 driest Mays on record. And, one of the things that someone pointed out to me on my Facebook page about some of the years that were in the top 5, including 1988, that was a very hot summer around mid-Michigan, and that was a bad drought year.
Okay.
As well.
They may go hand in hand as well.
They may go hand in hand. So we'll have to see how this all pans out. Even 2012 popped up for Jackson as one of the driest Mays on record. 2012, if you remember, that was a really hot summer. We did get over 100 degrees during that summer. So we'll see. There's a lot.
I do remember that.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Because my birthday's in July.
Yeah.
So I tend to get some really hot days around my birthday.
Yeah. And we're transitioning into an El Nino, and there's just a lot of complicated weather things going on right now. So that's why when you look long range, it kind of becomes a little bit more difficult to pinpoint exactly how this summer is going to pan out. But hopefully, fingers crossed that we don't see too many drought conditions this summer, and hopefully we can get some rain in here as we get into the month of June. It just doesn't look like it's going to happen before the end of this month, but hopefully next month we get some more, because we need it, and I certainly don't want to see any issues like that.
Yeah.
One of the things is that where was I? Somewhere, was it the Red Cedar River? I was near recently, and I just noticed it didn't look as high,
Yeah.
And those are things that we'll be watching for if this dry weather continues.
And I was telling you during this morning, we still had frost advisories up until last night. Early this morning.
I will say, though, about those frost concerns is that I think probably last night was the last one.
Okay.
I don't foresee us, at least looking at what we're going to have in the forecast next week, I just don't see it. We don't typically see that into June and July. Sometimes we can see it in May, obviously, but that was probably the last one.
Okay. Because I did have to cover up my plants one more time. I listened to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There was some frost.
Yeah.
I don't think, probably most plants did okay last night.
Well, mine are on the balcony, and I didn't want all the wind that goes underneath it. there was a lot of science in there. Anyway, they're alive somehow, including the one that Nicole got me. So
Perfect.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, of course, as you are looking to make your Memorial Day plans, you can always download where is it? Right there. First Alert Weather app.
Yeah, and one of the things that we've been talking about is this app does allow you, it can follow you where you're going. So even if your travels take you outside of mid-Michigan, that's a really unfortunate video they play of me there.
Go talk to Bronwyn.
Maybe I will. It just pauses at an awkward place. But it can follow you, so you can get updates for the weather no matter where you're at. So even if you're up in, Mackinac City, or where else should we say? Sault Ste. Marie.
Sault Ste. Marie. I know a lot of people go to like Grand Haven, even if they're not going.
I'm going to Grand Haven.
Well, see, I'm not stalking you. I just happen to know. But you can go to the West Side of the State. Some people go to the East Side of the State. Some people would rather go to Lake Huron. It's a little bit less populated.
That's where Nicole's going.
Is she? Oh, that's right. She did tell us that. Yep.
Yeah.
She's from the West Side of the State going to the East Side.
And
You're from the East Side going to the West Side.
Yeah, I'm from the East Side. So, that brings up a point. If you've never been to the East Side, especially in the Thumb, you got Caseville, Port Austin,
Caseville.
A lot of great places, Port Sanilac, Lexington. You have a ton.
Lexington is so
If you have never
nice.
been to that part of the state, I think that is definitely underrated. I think Caseville is probably one of the most underrated towns.
It's more than just cheeseburgers.
Yeah, and if you don't know about it, they have the Cheeseburger Festival every year. It's a huge thing, a bunch of tents and things like that. You can
Flamingos.
and it has a great beach in Caseville. I'll stop, but
I don't even want to give away my mom and I's favorite beach because I don't want a ton of people to go there. But the sunsets, if you're at the tip of the Thumb, Caseville and everything, it's just as good as if you're going to the west side of the state.
Right, because
so much
if you
less
think about it, you have
populated.
Saginaw Bay to your west, so you have the water view, and it's not like you can see land. It's Saginaw Bay is a big bay, so it's just like the west side, but less busy. I feel like
It is less busy.
And
do you ever do the drive from like Port Huron, Lexington, all the way around the tip?
I
and go down
have.
through Saginaw?
Actually,
It's
that
fun.
was on my Facebook memories. We did that for Memorial Day one time, because we went up to Harbor Beach, and then we went up to
Harbor Beach is nice too. It's a cute little town.
cute little town.
Some cute little restaurants, some antique stores, some thrift shops. It's really nice. And a lot of historical stuff too. We should go take Claudia because she's a history nerd.
And they got Turnip Rock up there.
Yes.
That's really cool to see. You can kayak out to it. They also do boat tours. Maybe we should work in the Thumb as some sort of like visitor tourist.
News 10
expert.
plus on the road to the Thumb.
Yeah.
It'd work.
I just think it's really underrated.
I think it is too. And I think a lot of people, they don't think to go there because there's not one big thing like there is on the west side of the state. But
It is very rural. And there aren't really any big towns in the Thumb. You got Bad Axe in Huron County.
That's
but
about it.
That's not really that big of a town. I mean, there's a
No.
Meijer and a Walmart there, but there's not really a whole lot over there. But very pretty, very, very underrated.
very nice people.
Nice people. Yeah.
We do, Jan said that Lake Huron is ice cold. I think they're all cold right now, but
They are all
yeah.
cold.
And it is more sandy, I think, at Lake Huron too as well. Depending on where you're at.
Yeah, depending where you're at. I'm from Port Huron, so obviously I spent a lot of time in Lake Huron.
Yeah.
But Lake Michigan, all of our Great Lakes, right?
Yeah.
That we have. Lake Superior, Michigan, Huron.
We have Erie.
We have Erie a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't talk about Ontario. but-
Ontario's great, though. Deep.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, deep one.
All right. well,
Okay, we're stop
That's
talking
enough.
here. We're just
Everybody
chatting.
else is talking about what they want on their burgers, what they do. Jan says lettuce, tomato, mayonnaise, pickles. But on our hot dogs, it's ketchup, mustard, and relish. What about
Ooh, I
yours?
do like relish on a hot
Okay.
dog. That's good. But you can't go wrong with like your standard like chili dog. But then you get into the debate, Flint style versus Detroit style.
A lot of people don't know that there's a Flint style coney
Yeah,
dog.
which one do you like?
I like coney dogs.
Oh,
I know. I don't know how I'm allowed in the state.
I know, but I'm very adamant on this one. Detroit style is the way to go. Even though I worked in Flint, spent a lot of time in Flint, but the Flint style is just not for me.
Flint style is very different than Detroit. And if you don't know what we're talking about, Google the difference between Flint style coney dog. You'll probably come up with Angelo's, I'm sure, or Tom Z's.
Okay, and we can explain it. The difference is the Flint style, the chili on it is much more like ground hamburger.
Yes.
More than
It's loose. Okay, that sounds so gross, but it's loose meat.
yeah, it's not quite. And then the Detroit style is more your traditional chili. This is all stuff that I'm sure you did not expect to get when you logged on to this today.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I can Google it really, really quick here. I'm not very fast at this like I thought I was. Here we go. Right?
That's
Am I
a Flint. That's
This is
Flint.
Flint, yes. And
That's a
then
Flint style. Okay, where's this one?
This one. There we go.
That's the difference between
I love how you picked the smallest picture
if
possible.
you can't see it. But it's just like the loose chili.
This one. From our friends at M
Oh,
Live.
there you go. Yeah, this is M Live. The one on the left, that is Detroit style. The one on the right is Flint style.
Yes. So, there you go.
I am Detroit style all the way.
I am not sure how I'm allowed in this state when I don't like Coney dogs or Better Made potato chips or Red Pop. I don't know how I'm allowed.
I agree with you on the Red Pop.
Yeah, or Verner's. I don't like Verner's.
I don't
either.
like burners either. But I've had it. And when your stomach's upset.
Yeah, it is medicine. Anyway,
Okay.
we got way too Michigandery all in this, but we are working on local news this holiday weekend. Here's what we have coming up from our news.
Thank you, Crystal. Happy Memorial Weekend to everyone. I'm talking to travelers going up north for the weekend. I'll have all the details on what to look out for on the road, construction, and all of that later today coming up throughout the 90. Amaya, what do you have going on?
Thanks, Deanna. Today, News 10 received a 91-page report regarding recent updates to the MSU campus shooting. I'll have more on that later tonight, starting at 6. Justin, over to you.
Thanks, Amaya. Yesterday, a dog reunited with its family after going missing some 3 years ago. I'll have that story for you later on tonight at 6. Back to you at the digital desk, Crystal.
All right. Thanks to Deanna, Amaya, and the newest member of our News 10 team, Justin Kent.
Have you done a meet and greet with him yet on here?
No, we're going to
Gotta do
save
that.
that for next week. So we're going to do that next week, hopefully on a day when he's a little bit less busy. We're going to have him over here, and he's going to give us kind of a Q&A for everybody to get to know him. And
I'll be
introduce
curious
everybody.
what he is a fan of, Flint style or Detroit style.
He's talking to a producer right now
It looks
about
like he's
his
working.
story, so I don't want to bother him too much, but we'll bring that up to him next week. Maybe we'll do a little this or that session.
Well, because he's coming from Flint.
He's coming from Flint, yes. Yeah, he's really busy right now.
Yeah, we're not
I don't want
gonna
to pull him over here. But stay tuned for that. We're going to have that next week, and we'll put something out on Facebook and Twitter and everything so that you know when exactly to tune in for that. Up until then, have a very safe and happy Memorial Day weekend. Enjoy the great weather, and we will see you next week. I am going to be here in about an hour or so with Fred Human. We're going to talk a little bit more sports and what we have coming up. You know, we thought we were going to find out who was going to be in the NBA and NHL finals last night, and they staved off elimination. Both
You know, one team in the NHL finals.
we know one team in the NHL and one team in the NBA. What are your thoughts on the NHL finals? Because I know you're a hockey fan.
I don't necessarily want any of the teams.
Can they all lose?
I guess, I if I had to pick out of any of them, Florida,
Sounds so convincing.
but I don't want Vegas.
Why?
I just have a hard time with these expansion teams because they get going right off the bat, and they don't have to build their teams up, right?
Yeah.
They get a pretty decent team right off the bat. So I don't. They're playing what, Dallas?
Yes.
Obviously
They're
not.
up 3 games to 1.
Not Dallas. So Florida, I guess.
See, I really wanted it to be Dallas and Carolina.
Did you see? This is when Vancouver was still in. That if it was Florida versus Vancouver in the finals, it would have broken all a bunch of records between the largest distance between the two teams.
That would have been really cool.
Well,
Because
think
we've seen New York and LA not that long ago.
Right, but this is an extent, Florida to Vancouver.
That is
I
pretty
mean,
far.
that's thousands of miles.
Yeah.
So
Like one bottom right corner of the map to the upper left corner
exactly.
of the map.
Yeah, that would have been crazy.
I wanted it to be Carolina and Dallas because I really wanted to see Joe Pavelski and Brett Burns duke it out. Former besties,
Who
possibly.
would you have wanted to win between those two teams? I would have a favorite in that one. Obviously.
I think Burns is everybody's favorite just because of who he is. But Big Joe's been such an icon for hockey for so long.
But he was a Red Wings killer for a while.
He was. The whole team was a little tough to get around in the early 2000s, and or mid to late 2010s and all
Yes.
of that. So yeah, but it would have been cool to see two former teammates who were on a team for so long. One of them would have won.
Yeah.
And they would have had to beat their friend to do it, which
And the
is always
handshake
interesting.
and the line.
I would have cried, but anyway, it doesn't matter because Carolina got swept by Florida, who was in their first final since 1996.
Got that through for, right?
Hey, so we'll see. And then, of course, we were talking, me and Joey were here yesterday. So Florida plays out of Sunrise. The Florida Panthers play out of Sunrise, Florida, which is near Miami. The Miami Heat are also playing to be in the finals. So there's a chance that within days of each other, the Miami Heat and the Florida Panthers could both be champions.
You know, as a Detroit fan, that makes me jealous because our teams have just been struggling since, 2016?
Easy.
Easy. But we had a lot of good years. You know, we had the Tigers and the Red Wings. They were both very good for a while.
Pistons were great for a few years.
Pistons were good. They won the championship in 2004.
And then,
The Lions are still playing catch up, but we'll get there hopefully this year.
yep. It would be very interesting to see what happens in South Florida if that happens. It's a possibility. It's a strong possibility.
Would they have two separate parades or just one?
They'd have to have two separate. That's not fair.
We'll see.
They each deserve, if they each win, they each deserve to have that moment of
I
their own.
agree.
So, I mean, they can, maybe make the hockey players play basketball and vice versa. That would be pretty fun. But anyway, we'll get on to all of that later. I'm sure nobody watching this really cares about the sports show. Except for us.
Not our takes anyways.
Yeah. Anyway, so we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching, everybody.